The question 9 that I had was about the myth of binding treaties and the idea of deceit in the treaties. Um, it's a classic discussion in colonialism. Another classic discussion is the myth that treaties are being honorable commitments of the occupier. And in general, the presence of deceit and deceptive intentions at the time of writing the treaties. This is all of this when colonizing entities pretend that they see treaties as binding agreements, and then they're going to honor, they say that they're going to honor what they sign. But we see that expanded on through your work about how treaties, I would say, are created in order to be broken. Like it has that mechanism in it, not in order to be upheld. And an example you provide is the phenomenal one that says ever since the first peace conference on post 1948, Palestine, the Lausanne meeting of April 1949, the refugee problem had been excluded from the peace agenda and disassociated from the concept of the Palestine conflict. And then Israel participated in that conference only because it was a precondition for its acceptance as a full member of the UN, who also demanded that Israel sign a protocol called the May Protocol, committing itself to terms of Resolution 194, which included an unconditional call for the Palestinian refugees to return to their homes or to be given compensation. And then you write, a day after it was signed in May 1949, Israel was admitted to the UN and immediately retracted the commitment to the protocol. Now, this comes in my personal interest of the nuclear deal and how Trump withdrew from that, and now giving a lot of room to the hardliners inside of Iran as well, and how it became a justification for further mass suffering through sanctions. Can you comment on this idea of treaties and deceit in general, and what happens to the hopes for liberation from violence and occupation when treaties are written with deceptive intentions? What are our duties as scholars, as thinkers and educators in a world where treaties are made to be broken in favor of those who are usurping land and resources? I'm thinking of this and I don't have a solution other than treaties, other than agreements, but it breaks my heart to see that the colonizer is not in it for to uphold it.
Yes, I mean, treaties are on one hand just tools,
Yeah,
but they become significant factors in our life uh, in the way they're used. By
yeah,
themselves, they're of course a very important methods of writing down agreements and understandings. And I don't see, especially on the level of international politics and global politics, but also in the level of the relationship between employers and employees, that you can go without engraving understandings within a legal conversation, a contract conversation, and so on. But it's part of a crisis of confidence that we have when those with power are abusing that particular
yeah.
genuine method of putting into writing understandings that should be withheld. And it's quite incredible that those in the West, you mentioned the Iranian deal, you can mention the Israeli violations, do not understand that their act is not concrete only. It undermines the whole system of international legality and legitimacy, without which as a global society, we won't be able to deal with challenges that can only be dealt internationally. Global warming, poverty, immigration, just to mention three of the most important ones, but they're not the only ones. And if you won't have a trust in these contracts, and if you won't have a trust of those who are supposedly observe these contrasts, the world will not be able to recruit the global cooperation that needs to be recruited in order to deal with global challenges, not just local challenges in different places.
You would say then a solution would be to as citizens, as activists, as academics, to put pressure on the treaty makers to uphold their treaties?
I would go even further. I think academics should now be part of a discussion, and they're not alone, should be part of a more general discussion of redefining what is universal, what is international law, what are the mechanisms to uphold international law and international justice? Go back to the historical circumstances in which the current mechanisms and tribunals were formulated, understand the impact of that particular formative period on the deficiency that these mechanisms have within the deficiencies of the contract world. I think this would be something worthwhile and fight the university management who would say this is too political, this is not academic, and fight for our right to say, actually, we think that's why we are here,
Very
because we
interesting.
do have the space and the time to do it, sometimes more than other members of the society.
Absolutely. And the knowledge, and then with it comes responsibility. I never looked at it from that perspective. Thank you very much for that.